Let's reach the arms up. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart. Pick up your right knee and take a nice big step back with it, and then turn the feet to face the long edge of the mat and then a little bit out. So you're facing along the long edge and the toes have turned out. Reach your arms up to the sky and then bend your knees and your elbows. So you're coming into this goddess stance or horse stance, hugging the elbows back, opening the chest. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bring your left elbow to your left knee and coming into a little bit of a side bend. Okay, inhale up through center, and then we'll go the other way. So right elbow comes to the thigh, side stretching. Just one more time each side, coming up through center and side bend. Coming up through center and side bend. Okay, from here, straighten the legs and bring the fingertips down. Parallel your feet. Lengthen your heart forward and then gently melt into your standing forward bend. Soften the knees a little bit. So we're going to keep the feet parallel, so all the toes are pointing forward, but we're going to walk the hands over towards the right kind of upper corner of the room. You can bend your right knee a little bit and melt your heart. Okay, and then come through center and over to the left, reaching your fingertips to the sort of upper left corner of the room. You can bend the left knee just a little bit and melt your heart. Really nice. Okay, and then we're going to turn to the front of the mat again. So we're just turning right back towards the top of the mat and step back into downward dog. You can choose to come into child's pose, downward dog, or you can take vinyasa here if you want. It's coming forward, little push up, or lowering all the way down, pulling through to your back bend, returning to downward dog, and then we'll meet at the top of the mat. So you can hop there lightly if you want, or walk. Take your forward bend and then rise up. You can roll up slowly, or if you're feeling like you want to bend the knees and just come up in one breath, you can do that too. Beautiful. Okay, pick up your left foot, step it back, and again, turn your feet to the long edge of the mat. This time, hands on hips. Fold down so that your hands come to just underneath your shoulders. Now, we're going to do this on both sides, so don't worry too much if you get confused here. But we're going to walk to the left foot, to the back of the mat, and we're going to turn the foot so that it's in pyramid pose. So you can widen your back foot a little bit out to the side, turn the toes in a little, and you can also put your hands on blocks. Okay, take a halfway lift and either stay here, drawing that left hip back and just being in that lovely hamstring stretch. That's nice and safe for the lower back. If it feels good to fold, you can add that. And if you want to flow with it like we were doing before, you can. Okay, stay here or walk your hands over to the upper right corner of the room. So you're taking a bit of a wide version of pyramid. Okay, and then from here, hands under the shoulders, we're gonna walk all the way over to the right foot. So there's a little bit of footwork that you'll need to do here. Turning to the right foot again, and you're probably gonna need to widen your feet a little bit. So my right foot is just heel toeing over towards the right edge of the mat, left toes are coming down, and we're in pyramid, on or off blocks. You can stay up high, lengthening, you can fold or you can flow up and down. Okay, and you can keep doing that, or keep your legs exactly as they are, but walk your hands off to the upper left corner of the room. So again, it's just a little bit of a different way of being in pyramid. Sensations here a little different. Awesome, and then back through center. Okay, and then from here, let's step back to downward dog, child's pose, or one last vinyasa if you want one. Any variation works, including cat and cow. Beautiful, and then we're gonna come towards a yin pigeon. We're not gonna hold it too long, but we will settle into our pigeon a little bit. So if you've got that bolster, you can bring it onto your mat. You don't necessarily need a bolster, it's just nice if you have it. And then you can take your right shin over the bolster. So the shin is to the front, and the knee is to the front as well. And you're just kind of settling your hips onto the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you could wedge any prop you have underneath your elevated hip. And if pigeon doesn't work for you, feel free to take thread the needle or 90-90. So 90-90 is when you sit down on your hip. You would do this without the bolster. You'd have your back knee bent and you just fold over your legs like that. That works a lot better for some people. Okay, if you are in pigeon with me, you could have your hands on blocks or the floor and just get nice and long. And maybe you want to stay there for a few breaths, or you could fold, bringing your elbows to the blocks or the floor and coming into a little bit more of a passive version. So we are going to take this in a yin version. So that means that especially if you've got the props under you, you're kind of settling and softening. Receiving the experience of the pose. Allowing any thoughts or emotions to flow through you. So again, part of what we're looking at when we're thinking about the King of Pentacles is our relationship to power and authority. And for me, one of the places where power really originates in my body is through the flow of my emotions, through allowing myself to feel whatever it is that I feel, to knowing that I have the right to feel whatever it is. Okay, and then when you feel ready, we can come back up to the hands, gently extricate ourselves. So you could lean over to your right hip and swing the back leg around to the front, or you could press into the hands, pick up the leg, and come into hands and knees or downward dog, and you could extend the leg if you want, give it a shake. You could do windshield wipers if you're seated. And then when you're ready, we'll switch sides. So bringing that left shin over top of the bolster, or again, you're sitting completely down on the hip with the back knee bent, or thread the needle, or whatever variation works for you. Some of you, I know you have hip openers that you prefer. Put your hands on blocks if you have them, or just up on fingertips, maybe taking a moment to lengthen. And then melting down to your elbows, or block under the chest, block under the forehead, or fists under the forehead, just whatever works for you. And settling into the shape. Receiving the experience of opening into the hips, which is one of those places that has a relationship with earth and sensuality. allowing yourself to be in the flow of your sensual experience, which involves sensations, but it can also involve emotions. Last couple breaths. And then when you're ready to come up, find our hands and come out the way you did on the other side. So that could be bringing the back leg to the front or picking up the hips and the leg and coming through a three-legged downward facing dog, maybe extending the leg. If you're seated, you can do the windshield wipers. Okay, and then we'll meet in seated. And then I'll invite you to take a prop behind you. So bolster is ideal if you have one, but you could also use a block or a pillow or a rolled up blanket. We're just going to elevate the chest a little bit so we can take a nice passive heart opener. You can take soles of the feet together, knees open wide, and you could put two same size props underneath your thighs or knees. You don't have to do that. You can also have your legs bent or straight. And then lay back. Okay, for some people, this is a bit intense on the lower back. It really helps to elevate the top edge of the bolster a little bit, if that's the case for you. And or to sit on a low prop just to lengthen your spine a little bit, and or to move the bolster a bit away. So those are all options if this is uncomfortable for you. It is technically a yin pose, but I want it to feel quite comfortable. I want it to feel symmetrical and a place where you can kind of melt into softening and receiving some space around your heart. Letting your breath be full. So when and if you feel ready, you can start to deepen the breath. Maybe we're wiggling the toes and fingers. Maybe taking a stretch. We can draw the knees in and roll to one side, depending on the shape you're in. And journeying gently up to a seat.